A lot of wind out there, some gusty winds, some blowing snow, some icy roads out there in spots, so please be careful. Let's take a step back in time how our Sunday wrapped up. 34 for the high, so pretty seasonal yesterday, maybe a few degrees below the norm. Our low a little bit milder than normal, getting down to about 23. A top gust yesterday of 37 miles an hour. Still seeing some strong winds this morning, especially around the Big Timber area. West of Yellowstone County, really over the next couple of days, we could still see some bouts of some strong winds, so just FYI, especially if you drive a high-profile vehicle, may be very problematic. Now, yesterday we got about 0.2 of an inch of snowfall yesterday, so we're doing okay for the month, still pacing ahead. Still in the hole for the season. A moisture total still slightly pacing ahead as well. Now, we still have a chance to see maybe a little bit of light snow this morning here in Billings, but this is coming off all these storm reports that came in yesterday over the last 24 hours. Just some of the areas that saw a good bit. Lame Deer, about a foot of snowfall. Crow Agency, about 3 inches. Look at Nyhart, 22 inches of snowfall. Now, if you want to go to my Facebook page, meteorologist Miller Robson, I've got a full list of the reports coming in. As we move forward, pretty dry slot coming up next couple of days. But then as we get into the weekend, we have a chance of more snow. But the big story this weekend, maybe the coldest air of the season heading our way. We'll take a look coming up.
Ooh, a cool down.
Yeah,
all right,
big cool down.
Much to come with that. Thanks so much. And in our top story this morning, of course, we are tracking those fires in Los Angeles. Officials in Los Angeles County now say at least 24 people have died in those deadly wildfires. They've been burning for nearly a week in Los Angeles and the surrounding areas. Some residents have compared the tens of thousands of acres of charred land to a war zone. Weather forecasts predict strong Santa Ana winds are returning in the next few hours and current hours through Wednesday, with the potential to fan those flames even further. CBS's Charlie DeMar has more from Los Angeles.
Firefighters in Southern California are in a race against time to contain the deadly wildfires. The National Weather Service warns that dangerous high winds are expected to return in the coming hours.
These winds, combined with low humidities and low fuel moistures, will keep the fire threat in all of Los Angeles County very high.
As of Sunday, officials said the Palisades fire, the largest, was still less than 20% contained. Residents of the luxury community returned home over the weekend to find their homes reduced to rubble.
It's devastating and numbing, but everybody I've spoken to who's lost their homes, they all want to rebuild.
And not every resident has been able to get back into their home due to National Guard checkpoints that have been set up for safety concerns. This as California's governor has ordered another 1,000 National Guard troops on the ground.
The tragedy has triggered a massive outpouring of donations. Piles of bottled water, clothing, and other necessities took over the parking lot at the Santa Anita racetrack near the Eaton fire.
We were like, let's go help. We have to.
Danny Lee and his 6-year-old son Oliver were among the many volunteers.
Kids and grown-ups are homeless. They don't have anywhere to live.
Officials say hundreds have fled the area to shelters, with tens of thousands of people in LA County still under evacuation orders. Charlie DeMar, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Charlie, thanks so much. Utility company Southern California Edison says it's cooperating with an investigation into whether its equipment might have sparked the Hearst fire. The company says it doesn't know if a power conductor was downed before or during the fire. More than 40,000 people in California are without power this morning, according to the website Find Energy. Fire officials do say power may be shut off in fire-prone areas to prevent more blazes. And one quick update, Lame Deer schools will not be having a 2-hour delay. They're going to be remote learning today. So double check with Lame Deer schools if you're a member of that district and make sure you have your plans set for the day. And back to the wildfires from our local fire stations. Help is being sent to help battle those California wildfires, including from right here in Montana. 10 engines and nearly 40 personnel from across the state made that 2-day journey on Saturday to assist. Our Isabel Spartz met up with the Columbus and Red Lodge departments before their departure on how the extra hands will impact the fire efforts.
The wildfires seen in California for the past week have been devastating for the thousands that live in the area. It's why fire crews here in Columbus and across Montana are answering the call to help.
We've seen the harrowing images coming out of greater Los Angeles as wildfires continue to burn.
Nobody really can comprehend, that you're losing whole communities like that.
Dozens of fire crews from across the country are flooding the area to help, and now it's Montana's turn.
If there's a need, we're more than welcome to hop on up and get going.
Colton Cowger and Connor Hunter are just two of the firefighters making the 1,200-mile trek to LA from Columbus on Saturday morning.
We'll see what we do when we get down there and see what they need us to do and help out whatever way we can.
The Columbus Fire Rescue Engine isn't alone. With them travels a crew from Red Lodge and 8 other Montana departments. In total, 10 engines and nearly 40 members have been called.
We did this in 24 hours and they're going to be on the road. That's pretty quick.
Columbus Fire Rescue Chief Rich Cowger says that while traveling to assist wildfires in other states is common for them, these fires could prove to be a challenge.
It's the perfect storm. I know those folks would have upstaffed for that event, but when you've got 100-mile-an-hour winds and the drought that they got, the conditions they got, there's just no realistic way that you're going to combat that situation.
And while the crews won't know their assignments yet, they're ready for anything.
This particular case is going to be a little bit different. You know, it's something that not a lot of us are very used to. I don't think anybody's really used to this. So it's going to be kind of a learning curve, but we're excited to see what we can help out with.
The fires seen in California might look different than here in Montana, but Cowger says that fires can be unpredictable.
We always think, well, that happens somewhere else. And the reality is, today's day and age, it can happen anywhere.
He hopes that the aid will one day be returned when needed.
We got our badge out there in other communities helping them, which is pretty cool, but it helps build that network. Our folks are bringing back experience from those other places that help us out here. So it's a win-win situation.
A situation that is helping neighbors in need and keeping the community back home proud.
Just happy to help. Happy to help where we can.
In Columbus, Isabel Sparts, MTN News.
Isabel, thanks so much. Scripps News and the Scripps Howard Fund are teaming up to provide relief for the Southern California wildfires. You can text Scripps to 50155 or scan the QR code on your screen. Every dollar you give goes directly to those impacted by these devastating fires. And out of Broadus this morning, it's a similar story in southern Montana. Highway 212 from Crow Agency to the Wyoming state line was closed for a good portion of the weekend. That stretch of road now open, but travel conditions are still said to be treacherous. The wind, ice, and snow leading to some very busy days for tow truck drivers in the area as they look to get vehicles dug out and on their way to safety. With more on that, here's our Charlie Kleps.
It's been crazy.
It all happened fast.
I had two slide offs out towards Hammond. Both way off the road.
A combination of rain, snow, and wind in just a couple days created treacherous road conditions in southeastern Montana on Highway 212.
No, currently there, as you can see behind me, we're still closed.
The road was closed to prevent more chaos, though it didn't stop it completely.
We had road blockage up on Home Creek Divide, which is 212 west from Broadus. We had semi-jackknife blocking the whole road.
Longtime tow truck driver Damian Desatoff has been busy trying to rescue those in need, conditions that he says he's rarely seen so dangerous.
Last night it progressed into blowing snow, whiteout conditions. It got to the point it was so bad, I had a deputy sitting in front of me with his lights going, and I could not see his lights in front of me at 20 feet.
Conditions so bad that Desatoff opted to shut down for the night, something he can only recall doing 3 times in his 11 years of towing.
I got a wife and kids at home that I need to get home to. It could be deadly. So it's the severity of the road conditions last night were I would say they could be deadly.
Just one look at frightening conditions around the state. In Billings, Charlie Kleps, MTN News.
Charlie, thanks so much. And in north central Montana, Lewistown has seen more than a foot of snow, making travel near impossible. And let's head up there as MTN's Owen Skornick-Hayes hears from Lewistown residents as they begin the process of digging out.
Whiteout conditions on the road, high whipping winds, and several feet worth of snow drifts make this seem like a relative playground. That's what residents were experiencing in central Montana the last 24 hours. I had a chance to catch up with some of them about the severe weather and how it's impacted them.
We're pretty paralyzed right now. We're not even trying to go out.
Thousands of Montanans continue to be affected by a winter weather event spanning multiple counties. For the Burts, who recently moved from the Flathead to Geyser, it's been a new experience.
We've been here 2.5 years. We haven't had a storm like this.
Areas of Judith Basin receiving as much as 8 inches of snow accumulation, with snow drifts several feet high reported. In Fergus County, 17 inches of snow reported. That's where resident Ryan Hartford says snow drifts as high as his car have him penned in.
I snowblowed the drift behind our car yesterday afternoon, and by this morning it was filled higher than it was yesterday. So
Gusts of wind up to 30 miles an hour allow the snow to keep filling in. Blizzard conditions creating a number of travel advisories. Whiteout conditions closing Highway 87 between Armington Junction and Stanford. The same highway, temporarily closed from Lewistown to Grass Range, is back open. Lewistown police telling residents to shelter in place and only travel for emergencies. Those hunkered down expect to remain so for another 24 hours.
The outlook is probably here through Monday, I would guess, because there's a lot of county roads to plow.
Conditions creating hazards for those living remotely and for ranchers.
I feel for them out there. They're out there for hours and hours taking care of hundreds of head of cattle.
We have an elderly couple that's neighbors that we can't reach, haven't been able to reach them for a couple days. We're going to probably take the snowcat and try and ride up to them and just check on them.
The amount of snow was even too much for ski resorts. Bear Paw Ski Bowl near Havre receiving 18 inches overnight. Skiers excited for opening weekend becoming stuck on the roads. Bear Paw was able to open on Sunday. At Showdown near Nyhart, 22 inches have fallen in the last 24 hours.
We have over 5 feet for the week. I'm 5'2", so that's kind of fun for me.
But Showdown manager Katie Bodeker says be cautious.
Even though you'd be excited to get up here, the snow isn't going anywhere. Check the road conditions, check 511 MT before you head out.
Geyser and Lewistown Public Schools announcing they're closing Monday. Fergus County District Court also closing as Central Montanans brace for another 6 inches of snow overnight. From Central Montana, Owen Skornickays, MTN News.
Thanks so much, Owen. And for Montana ranchers, winter is not a time to slow down. As temperatures drop and snow piles up, the demands of ranch life only intensify. Duties during this time of year include feeding livestock, fixing fence, keeping water sources clear, and competing with heavy snow that makes the routine chores a challenge. Despite the hardships and sub-zero temperatures and gusty conditions, ranchers say they embrace the challenge.
The main thing is just making sure cows are happy and not hungry, and making sure they have a nice dry place to sleep at night so that they're not getting sick that way. And so that's kind of every day you're thinking about how you can better take care of your cows and get them more happy and healthy.
Ranchers say cattle are more than just livestock in Montana. They're part of the many sectors in agriculture that are vital to the state's economy, landscape, and identity.